This is just when we all pull our tips out and just be
All right.
stupid.
I
Jazz, SIPcast number 5.
Live. And we're all here.
We're all here. We don't have that
Not
stupid
yet.
picture of you
Hey,
in
man,
the
it's probably
corner.
a beautiful picture.
We're just going to paste the picture over Jeff's stream.
Yeah, he could just
Oh,
talk,
boys.
just have the mouth
Sunburned
open on the
face.
picture.
Um,
I got some
All right.
sun. All right. Well, what do you want to?
games.
What do you want to talk about first?
I mean, we're going to go in order. We can just talk about this Marvel game from Telltale Games that I haven't heard anything about.
Yeah. So like, I wanted to bring up 2 with this, but so yeah,
It sounds
Telltale.
nonsensical, but
Yeah, it's supposed to be released in 2017. They partnered with Marvel, and so I imagine there's going to be more than one of these Telltale games because it's a partnership. But it's supposed to be released in 2017, and they haven't released like what character they're going to do or like what they're going to do. And I'm sure it'll probably be a part of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so like I don't know. And so the main thing I wanted to bring up, I actually wrote a list down earlier today. Telltale right now has at least seven games they're working on. This is a studio that brought you Back to the Future and Jurassic Park like 6 years ago. And now they are working on 7 games with multiple episodes. And so I just kind of wanted to get y'all's take. Like, we kind of saw this with Harmonix, with the Guitar Hero games and stuff, how they just blew up. They kept adding people, moving into bigger buildings. And they eventually, obviously, like, fell through. And so, like, this Telltale, so like I'm just gonna go down the list. You got Walking Dead season 3 coming out next year. Wolf Among Us season 2. You got Tales from the Borderlands hasn't finished yet. Game of Thrones hasn't finished. They're coming out with a Minecraft game of their own. You know,
it's nonsense.
Yeah. I think that's supposed to come out next year, and then the Marvel game, and then they're doing these hybrid TV show and video games. They're calling super shows, and so like. It kind of reminded me of. Do you remember Defiance? That sci-fi
the TV show.
Yeah, and so it kind of reminded me of that.
They pretty much gave up on.
Yeah, and so like that is 7 games they're working on, and it's just kind of like, are they doomed to fail?
I don't think. Well, I don't think. Yeah, they're like severely expanding like the amount of games they work on, but. I mean, those games are point and click, like dialogue driven, like from a technical perspective, and like actually developing a game. The brunt of the work is on the writers for this game.
Yeah,
that what makes them so compelling. That and the voice acting. So I don't think if they're like getting more writers, I don't really think it's going to be too much of a burden on that end. And again, like I mean. It's that cel-shaded style. I'm sure they like if their programmers are worth their fucking paycheck, then they can do a lot of copy and paste with that stuff and like
I mean their art style is pretty much all the same
and change it around some. But now to get back to like the fact that they're making a Marvel game, that is preposterous. that doesn't make any sense to me, because. When I think of Marvel, I don't think of having to make hard-hitting decisions and like
that's true.
Like,
well,
emotionally compelling.
I guess you could counter that with like the Tales from the Borderlands game. That's not a very emotional, serious game.
When I think superheroes, I think action, and
and that's not Tell.
At that point, like
it's not gonna be open world.
I just want to watch a movie. Like, I don't see the appeal of that whatsoever. to talk about the Tales of the Borderlands, I honestly think they took the greatest strength of those games and like cut out the bullshit, which was the terrible like shooting. I mean, like, you know, I haven't played them, but I've heard enough to make me like be slightly interested in them because
me as well.
They took the very self-aware sense of humor those games have, and like, there's a scene where you get punched and it has like a little box at the bottom that says your face will remember that.
Yeah.
And like another funny one is if you skip the credits at the end of the episode and it was like the development team will remember this. So it's like really funny, like fourth wall breaking shit that's really good. And I mean, it again, like I think Borderlands is pretty amusing. Some of the humor is like way overboard, but like boner farts, like you have to laugh at that.
I watched the first episode of Tales from the Borderlands, like someone's playthrough, and I was like, that's pretty funny. Like the writing is pretty comical. Yeah. Like Chris Hardwick is one of the voice actors, which is like the nerdist. And so he's pretty funny, and like there's this one scene where he's like got his shirt off. And if you like look at him for too long or something, it's like so and so will remember this. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, like I thought they did a really good job with some of that stuff.
But
I mean that is a shitload of games. But I do remember hearing that like Telltale's done some like major restructuring overall, and it's really grown due to the popularity of the game. So it's not like they're making 7 MMOs. If that was the case, I would be.
Yeah, it's just like, I guess I just came up with kind of maybe another reason. Like when they were working on Wolf Among Us Season 1 and Walking Dead Season 2, there was like 4 or 5 months in between episodes.
They did have a huge delay, but I think they recognized that.
Okay, yeah, because now they were just working on so much. It's insane.
Now, that doesn't mean the overall quality might, because I mean, maybe that core team of writers they have is super talented. They have to kind of dilute the work some overall to try and beat those deadlines. I won't say that it couldn't possibly hurt them if they start releasing like 4 of these games a year or four different episodes. Like they just like. It's going to oversaturate it somewhere because how many people like really want to play these games all the fucking time?
Yeah. I own like Walking Dead Season 1, and I heard how great it is. I don't think I've got past episode 2. It just Yeah,
I got to the last act of that game and just put it down and haven't gone back. I couldn't tell you why. I was actually like very emotionally invested in it, but I stopped playing it. I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to ever beat this game. I stopped playing it once upon a time. No, I mean, they're really good at what they do. But
Spess, have you ever played one of these?
Nope.
All right.
Probably should.
Moving on.
I've seen some of the Game of Thrones stuff. It's pretty cool. But
I do want to play the Game of Thrones one. We're all really big Game of Thrones fans, and I do want to play that one.
Yeah, I wonder though if they would do some spoilers on some of these upcoming ones, like the TV show's doing. I don't know if they're staying true to the books or if they're staying closer to like.
Well, no, it's like kind of like an independent story. It takes place between season 3 and 4 about House Umber, which to this date has not been a whole lot told in the books, so they're kind of playing with their, their own kind of volition. Yeah, and so like,
okay.
I think that's pretty good. It's like their own little story, but yeah, fuck the TV show. Have you watched any of it yet?
Oh yeah, I've been watching it, but I mean, I can't talk about it because
don't do it.
I can't recall what was in the book once not that a spoiler. So
and like. I have contemplated watching the show because, to their credit, if they're going to start spoiling stuff that hasn't been written, they've done a good job by diverging from the actual story just enough to where like I wouldn't really know what's going to be a spoiler and what they just fucking made up, most likely, because I've heard that they have had some, while maybe insignificant changes to the overall theme, some major changes to the last book this season so far.
Well, I don't recall everything about the last book because I power read it, but at least there was one thing, like they're heading in the right direction, the characters as they were in the book. But they've added some like minor things that I suppose won't take away from the final direction. But I do think that I was like, I don't remember that. But
I'm just worried.
I haven't been just like, holy shit, why did you do that?
Oh yeah, I'm just worried that like the White Walkers are like they're just gonna take over Westeros, and then George R. R. Martin is just gonna be like, well, that was pretty good. Let me do that. It's just, I don't know.
Now I have. I've heard, I have read some stuff, and I don't think it's happened yet, but there's a possibility of them pulling a move that, if they do it, will completely wipe out one of the major, like, fan-created things. Well, not fan,
what? Bruh. I'm gonna cut you off right there.
One of the major fan theories about the overarching plot.
Well,
and
I'm pretty.
If they do it,
dude,
man, I will be so happy.
No, shut your goddamn mouth.
I hate this theory. Don't get me
I
wrong.
know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
There's a lot of credit behind it. And it's, I'm not saying it's not plausible. It's very plausible. But I would love it if they just killed that thing.
No, I don't like that.
Here now. Because I hate the character. I absolutely hate the character.
Ultimately, I just want Arya to just assassinate everyone. And,
I'm on board with that, but I will read it when George wants me to read it. All right.
Fine. Well, moving on.
Okay. So I mean, we're gaming. We're under gaming talk shows, but goddamn it, we're talking about TV, and now we're going to talk about Avengers: Age of Ultron because we talked about Marvel with Telltale, and we're going to bring up Avengers because we all saw it. Specs, did you see it?
I'm not. It's on the list of things to do this week.
All right. Well, we're just going to.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I've heard plenty to know. Generally speaking, what happens, but go ahead, spoil it. That's fine. I'm not going to see that movie for the plot.
I mean, are those movies like really like spoilered?
Yeah, I mean,
we know what's going to happen. Things are going to work themselves out.
Fuck shit up. I mean, like Captain America's like throwing his shield around, like
which was fucking awesome.
Around.
But okay, it's not my.
It's really funny.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like they took the ending of the last Avengers movie, which was just them effing stuff up left and right, and they just made that almost the entire movie.
What'd you say?
Almost. I mean,
that's my understanding of
it's like straight out of the gate, like, and I don't want to be one of those people that's like complaining about there's too much action, because I generally hate that.
It's a stupid complaint.
But I will say, Age of Ultron, very close. There
was a lot going on. There's a lot of cuts.
It didn't max it out, but it was.
It's making its money though.
But it was like it was funny. Like the whole thing with Hawkeye was like hilarious.
Hawkeye could have been the funniest character.
Yeah, there's like a recurring joke with Captain America and like cussing, which is like really funny. Picking up Thor's hammer, which that was in the trailer. I don't know if you saw, but like those are all like really good. I enjoyed the movie. Don't think it's as good as the first one, but that's not saying like it's a bad movie. Like the first one is a really good movie.
It's like talking about like Fast 5 and Fast 6.
Oh my god! Also, Avengers passed Furious 7 as like the highest grossing movie this weekend. So all's right in the world.
Only until Fast 8 comes out.
Of course.
Pitch Perfect comes in.
Oh yes, Pitch Perfect.
If Pitch Perfect makes $1 billion, I'm cutting my testicles off and put them in my mouth and calling it.
You're gonna sing with the higher voice. It's definitely on my list of things to do. I've been watching all the Avengers or character movies that I have been missing. Like I just saw the last Captain America one. I don't know how.
Which was awesome.
Still
Yeah, it
haven't
was
seen
fantastic.
Still haven't
Dude.
seen it.
Yeah,
Never will.
It's so good.
It's a step above.
It makes me so angry. It's so good.
I'm sure it's fantastic.
Wes was probably dancing all over that. But yeah, fantastic movie. So I'm eager to see this one as well.
It's good, and I think like by and large, all of the performances were really good. Even the new twins, the enhanced, which are just mutants, so they can't
call mutants. Yeah,
just the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. But I mean, the Russian accents were
real bad.
Not so
real
great,
bad.
but they were still. I didn't hate them being in the movie. And James Spader was like phenomenal as Ultron. Like I really liked Ultron because he said some weird, goofy shit that almost made him sound like an idiot, the way he reacted to things. But I personally, that made him like more horrifying to me.
Yeah.
The fact that this like super android can have like a temper tantrum like a child and just cut my arm off, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed Ultron, even though the mouth thing was like a little weird.
All right.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. Shift back over to actual game news, which I know everyone's already talked about it. We'll give our 2 cents, and it won't be. It might not even be a full 2 cent. Konami and Kojima. It's that whole meltdown. I don't know if we've ever talked about it. Have we? I think like in friends, like when we just talk in general, we have, but not like in the public. But that's a complete meltdown. Like just out of nowhere, Konami just pulled Kojima's name out of like everything. Silent Hill's burned down. Took PT off the PlayStation Store.
Scorched earth,
Dude.
like, they didn't even just remove it from the store. Like that's one thing, but the fact that they were like, nah, BT Dubs, if you ever downloaded this game and then deleted it,
sorry,
it's gone. You can't ever get it back, which is something that usually doesn't happen on the PSN.
Well, I think the reason it's free, and so there's not that much outcry because it was free. If you would have paid like $4.99 for it, and then you just deleted it because
that's the only reason they could get away with it,
Yeah.
because it was essentially a commercial. But still, like, it's just amazing that they took one of the best marketing campaigns, like guerrilla marketing campaigns ever, and just like, I mean, went full retard on them. Like,
Yeah.
It's just, it's banana. It's a beautiful thing to watch from a perspective of someone who, while like I would have gladly watched someone play that game, they weren't gonna get my money regardless.
Yeah.
But
Did you see? You know what PT is, right?
Enlighten me.
It came out like in October, or
yeah, it was the new Silent Hill game teaser.
It was a playable teaser, and it was just like it just showed.
Oh yeah.
It just like showed up in the PlayStation Store and was just like, hey, what's this? And
they even listed it under like a fake studio name.
Right. I know. I remember what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
So you kind of played through it, and then if you missed what you were supposed to look at, shit would kill you.
Yeah, if you like turned around, you would get murdered by a ghost and all
So
this.
you had to look at the right object. You had to discover like what it wanted you to look at.
And if you did like all the puzzles, then it would cut to a screen and you'd see what's his name, the Walking Dead man.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah, Norman Reedus, which everyone like came their pants over. But like what Zeus said, I was probably gonna buy Silent Hills, like now, or at least they were gonna get my money because that was an awesome marketing campaign or whatever you want to call it, and it looked really cool. And I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan, and he was supposedly working on it, and that shit just crumbled.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not in. I would still like to see something of that caliber come out. I don't really give a fuck if it's tied to Silent Hills, but
Well, I mean, just
to see a horror game come out, and you know what? That's definitely possible because I'll tell you what, Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus don't work for fucking Konami,
Yeah.
and Hideo Kojima is soon to not be working for them. And I mean, Konami's not the reason that game was hyped for or why it could have been successful. So
yeah, they can't.
to that end, it's still like, fuck, I don't care what they call it. They could
Call it
call it Silent Beans for all
Yeah.
I care. Like, but
Hills of the
They-
Silent.
yeah, just some bullshit names. But like, I mean, I'm actually very interested to see what Kojima does once he's independent, or if he goes somewhere else, and see if he can do something besides Metal Gear Solid
Yeah.
shit. The man's pretty talented, and he has a very, very weird imagination. Almost as good as my new favorite director of video games, Hidetaka Miyazaki.
Which
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
yeah, yeah. I just thought that whole thing, it just came out of nowhere. And then earlier this week, Konami came out. Their CEO, which I think is he's new, as in like he was recently appointed, I think. And he's like, we're basically moving to mobile and casino. Like that's what we're doing. Like
Which I don't think anyone is shocked to hear now.
I think
if
if
they
you're
said it 3 months ago, they would be like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
But
yeah, and so you got
considering how public it's been.
That's kind of surprising, though. I feel like, mobile is going to continue to be big.
well, I think they make
Casinos.
they make slot machines, and then and don't quote me, but
It's
I
called
think
pachinko machine.
yeah, and so but gambling just got legalized like in mass in Japan, or something along those lines.
Hey, and Super Bunny Hop did a fantastic video summing all this up. So big shout! Like, if y'all know who Super Bunny Hop is, dude is like, it's a shame at the small amount of subs he has, because he is probably one of the best YouTube content creators out there. Like, his shit is so high quality, so crisp, so well researched. It's phenomenal. And he did a great video on this. So, according to his video, it has not been legalized in Japan yet. There was a big bill that was getting pushed through last year, and it got stalled out. Well, it's just recently been caught another way, a big push to try and make it back through, and it's seeing a lot more success this turnaround. So I think Konami's kind of banking on that occurring. But even if that doesn't happen, like, you can find videos of like Konami reps talking about how like they're so excited they refer to it as their digital entertainment wing, which is all their video games, their actual video games. And they were talking about how excited they are to take these digital entertainment franchises and attach them to these gambling machines, these slot machines, these pachinko machines. So, you're just going to fucking like play a slot machine with like Solid Snake on it or something, something dumb. And I hate it, because like, this is kind of a case where like mobile gaming, in a sense, is actually affecting like high quality games, like real games,
Yeah.
in a kind of roundabout way. But if you think of it from the cold, hard, like business sense, I can totally see what's happening. I mean, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I'm sure the margins on these gambling games and these fucking mobile games are massive.
Yeah, huge.
I'm sure they're just huge. I have no idea what the difference is.
Well,
And I'm sure the margins on like Metal Gear is probably going to be decent, but I bet the fucking pachinko machine, the margin's probably like 90% or something ridiculous. I mean, it's no effort. Like, you just fucking put it out there, and it just makes money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So I can totally see the move.
Yeah. I think we all could, especially like mobile gaming as well. Like, it's just bullshit taking off. But I'm not going to be too butthurt about it because I don't play Castlevania. I've never played.
I mean,
I don't
make any franchise.
that I play. I don't. Metal Gear Solid 5, what is it? Phantom Pain looks cool, but okay. Silent Hills did catch my interest. It did, give me. I did go from 6 to midnight, but it's not too bad. So, you got any last words on Konami or Kojima?
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
See you in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, excuse me, but I'm going to crack open one.
Yeah.
By all means, that's the name of the game.
Freaking wine tonight.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Sipping some good
I'm
old.
hydrating today. I'm
sipping some good old terrible American beer.
Yeah.
But do what you got to do.
As long as it's not with black blue.
Oh, I'm about choked up. Just that you're telling me about.
Fantastic.
So another thing we got, which I don't know, GTA 5 mod support. Did you see the whole debacle? Or not? It wasn't quite a debacle, but
that's weird because like you hear like two completely different messages.
Yeah.
Either side of the channel, so it's like Rockstar's like, fuck it, if you want to mod the single player, go for it.
I think that's the thing you hit on was like the single player, and it just I bought the game with intentions of modding the shit out of it and doing some crazy stuff, but then after seeing like what happened on GTA Online with people like the money mod or whatever, the money glitch, people just buying whatever they want to do, whatever they want to do, which I think has a place if you want to make your own server and have like a server dedicated to like this mod. I think that's pretty cool. But having like a general open or general server where someone can just come in with like a $7 billion and do whatever they want to do, I could see Rockstar's point of view where they're like, we don't want that to happen.
Well, do they have microtransactions in that game for buying currency?
Yeah, they do. There's something called shark cards. Yeah.
Yeah, well then there you go. Like that's I mean, you can't it's annoying probably, but at the same time
but I'm glad that they
monetize it, then they're gonna ban it.
Yeah, so. I'm glad they came out and were like, if you want to mod the single player, by all means, like go for it.
Yeah.
And so I think ultimately, I think they did the right thing. I think it's all going to work itself out. But it was kind of like pretty weird there for a couple of days after, a week or two after release, about the modding community. There isn't any great mods yet.
Well, I mean, it's... Well, and then I just did some searching. You hear about the keylogger that was on some of the mods that they were hyping up?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's... You have to wait. You have to.
Planes.
Yeah, you really have to that stuff needs to be crowdsourced, which now it is. So downloading a day one mod probably not the greatest thing because something like this could happen. But now the user base have figured this certain mod has a keylogging malware virus in it, and so it's like, hey, don't do that. Don't download this mod.
Probably shouldn't get that.
And so, yeah, I guess. Just wanted to hit on that. I plan on downloading some mods. I really like the superhero mod where you can just kick a car and just kick it 10,000 feet.
There was a mod that I thought was hilarious. Any gun that he would fire out of, it would shoot cars at full speed.
Yeah.
Just random cars. Just
that's pretty funny.
Rob this bank and he just mowed down an entire group of cops with a Hummer. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I think they got one where it turns you into a chimp, and I think that's pretty funny. And then that one where you can make the whale fall from the sky. Did you ever see that video? And someone made they have a thing called Rockstar Editor or whatever it's called, and you can make movie, like cinematic, like, you know, it's really cool. It's very robust and it's very good. And then someone made one where like just random whales like dropping out of the sky onto like stuff. It was really funny.
That'd be cool if they had like a Skyrim mod where like dragons would come out of the sky and just like pick
Give
up
it
people
time.
and drop them.
Give it time. Yeah.
It'll come. But I would love that.
Yeah, I would imagine that in a year, probably anything you want, you can get. I mean, that like GTA 4 was like the biggest. I mean, it had a huge modding community. It's like Skyrim level. Like people modded the shit out of that game, and you know, had so much fun with it. So, do you, boo boo? Do you?
Yeah. Go for it.
Don't give a fuck about it. Just don't get. I get the appeal, but man, don't care. Not in the least.
I feel like I'm playing in the real world though, and I'm just like I might as well just go outside.
That's
Driving
and
traffic.
you know that's why they like don't get my interest.
Did you
It's
listen
like,
to SIPcast number 4, Speps? Because that is Kyle's biggest complaint of the game.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest, I did not, but I think we probably share similar thoughts on it then.
Like that.
I mean,
That is like probably the biggest thing. Is like I don't want to just like romp around and be a hell.
right. I have that same
I'm
problem.
gonna
like,
do that. I want to go like.
Okay.
fucking, like
I hear you.
chop
sports
the
games.
dragon's head.
like
So,
there's like I like playing sports games sometimes, but when I'm playing FIFA, the only thing I can think about is like, let me just go outside and kick a damn soccer ball. Like, why am I playing it? I mean, I can see the appeal, and like Madden fun to play, but
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been driving and have just like had the thought of just like plowing the shit out of the person in front of me because they're pissing me off.
well,
But, like, I don't want to do that for hours on end. And I mean, I know that's like a gross generalization
Yeah.
of what those
That's-
games actually are, but that's how I view them. That's
Yeah.
why
That's-
they won't be fun.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, I hear y'all's complaints, but like the other night, I just got on and bought a tank, and I just murdered like 800 cops and like shot down like 20 helicopters for like 20 minutes. I was having a goddamn blast. It was so fun.
I
And-
mean, that game makes for like great highlight videos.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong. There's some. I mean, like some guy put together like a really good montage video of like a night out on the town with his friends, and the cutting was just like so good, and it was like almost like Hangover levels of like shenanigans that they were doing in the
Yeah.
video, and it was really good, and it like ended with them like all jumping out of a helicopter and like suicide. It's fantastic.
those videos where they're flying like cars, launching them off ramps and into like planes that are flying in the air, like that's so much. There's got to be so much time put into that, and I think
Yeah,
it's
I'm
fun
sure
to watch
it is.
them
No,
come up with these
Not
ridiculous
gonna
things.
do it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
I mean, there's a ton of YouTubers that like they play GTA and just come up with like crazy stunts, and so like that's like their whole channel. Just like, you know, how you got like tons of Minecraft, but there's no limits in that. I mean, there's limits, but like there's just so much shit to do. But I hear your complaint about it's just a real world. It's Los Angeles. That's what it's supposed to, you know, be. And
It's the
so
last place I want to be either.
Just and I, you know, again, I hear like the single player campaign is very compelling, and like, you know, the characters are very interesting and funny and
Developed.
psychotic. But I'm just a limp dick with those games, like through and through. So
Well, you know what's gonna get your heart on though? Some Bloodborne.
Bloodborne. all
So-
day.
what a fantastic segue. Fantastic steps.
Seamless.
Seamless.
Seamless. That's why I'm here.
What have y'all been playing? I know we're gonna do the stereotypical gaming talk show. What have you been playing? But we have a reason why we're doing it. So, Spence, have you been playing any video games?
I really haven't, because I am moving.
You're telling
as
me.
you well know.
You're telling me you have not played Natural Selection 2
Man.
Or Diablo 3.
or Diablo 3.
No, it's hurt a little bit, but As you can see, like in the background here, I've got like boxes that are being packed, and yeah, actually, in a few weeks though, I'm probably gonna get my game on because that's not gonna be a thing, and I'm gonna be living the dream.
You're at 50 meg internet, so
Dude, my
Dude, he just got a hard on. Did you see that?
quick aside, real quick. Internet here been very, very shady. It's been dropping just like randomly, and it's been driving me insane. So I probably couldn't have even gamed much this week because I had no internet. So there's that too. So yeah, I'm super pumped about that internet.
All right, Zeus, what have you been playing?
So, not too long ago, Cyrus was over, and I had the privilege, the opportunity, the prestige of playing just a sliver of Bloodborne. And it got so into my system, so underneath my skin, immediately, like, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2, I made a character in both games, and just started playing both of them, like, literally almost simultaneously. It was like I would die in one and swap over to the other game. And, oh man, like, Dark Souls, like, the hooks that game has gotten into me are real deep. And I have put an obnoxious amount of hours into that game, especially considering how not far I am in that game. God damn it. Like, and you know, we were talking like earlier, like, you know, I love The Witcher 2, and I am like really excited for The Witcher 3, but that hype has been tapered down a whole lot within the last week and a half. And that's not because of all the fucking circle jerking that's been going on about like the fucking graphics downgrade and like, you know, all this bullshit that, you know, people are complaining about the game and it's not even fucking out yet. So it's literally been because like Dark Souls is so goddamn good that I don't even need The Witcher 3.
Like, don't say that.
It's so good. It's just it's one of those games, and it
says that now.
I like look. Dark Souls has, to me, my honest opinion, the perfect balance of phenomenal level design with like supremely fun and like intricate game mechanics with a huge amount of lore and story. But that lore and story does not get in the way. If you just want to go through that game and just kill shit and be like super boss, you can do it. But if you want that story and that lore, it's there. It actually takes a little work to get it out of the game, but it's there, and it's there in spades. And it's phenomenal. And again, you know, like we talked about The Witcher 2, and specifically, but I'm sure it's in The Witcher 1, and I know it's going to be in The Witcher 3, where like you're given these elements where you have to make these decisions that eventually like lead to these branching paths. But you're still like, and this is still like compared to most games, like it's like hugely compelling, and you don't see it in very many games. You're still like point blank given that decision.
Yeah. And
you know you're making that decision. Dark Souls, it gives you that decision. You just don't know it. And you don't know it when you're taking it. And that is like, when you find out that first time that fucking NPC was an illusion, and that whole area is not under sunlight, it's actually covered in darkness because you didn't kill that NPC that is not hostile and actually feels like a genuine quest giver. Holy fucking shit. That is like the most mind-blowing thing ever.
So if you do kill this NPC, does it change everything?
You like find a whole nother subplot to the game that you would otherwise not know about. It's fucking insane.
But once you figure it out, it's too late. You can't.
You literally like, you could go through the whole game without knowing. You could go through the whole game several times without knowing it, because it's genuinely like because like in game like Fallout or Skyrim, I'll give those as examples because those are games where you're given a plethora of NPCs that you can kill.
Sure.
And the consequences are usually, if anything, it's cutting off content. Like, you're not going to get that quest. Or you're going to shorten this quest down by a whole lot and just loot the guy for that key you need to open this door right now instead of going through some fetch quest. That's different than that NPC. By killing it, you unlock a whole new portion of content that the game was not going to tell you about.
Now,
and that's essentially what what happens in Dark Souls.
So knowing this, are there certain NPCs you can't kill at all?
No, you can kill every NPC.
You can kill it.
So
you can literally kill them all.
Could you just like end the game like instantly and just kill off like?
You can't do that, but you can complete the game wholesale by killing all the NPCs, and they all have consequences. Some of them are not very interesting, but some of them are actually, like one NPC, you free him from prison, and if you just leave him to go about his whole whatever he wants to do, he ends up killing another person, and it actually severely affects you for a limited amount of time.
So you have to let him out of prison, but whether you let him roam around or you kill him.
Yeah, like he'll come back to the hub, and he'll just hang out there, and he gives you a few pieces of dialogue and like a quest reward for letting him out. And you can let him hang around, and he'll end up killing another NPC. But if you kick him off the ledge right then and there, he won't kill that NPC, and you're free to go about and not worry about it.
So you can't do his quest then. If you do his quest, it's too fucking late.
You do cut yourself off from. It gives you a chance to actually avenge that person's death, which is actually pretty cool. But at the same time, the level of detail they put into it, like it actually, by him not being there, that other person lives, and it's really cool. And there's also another action where you can take, where again, like, if the game doesn't tell you you can do this, but an NPC offers to help you to do something, you can completely sidestep that NPC and do it anyways. And then that NPC thinks that you don't trust him anymore and will just disappear. And then another NPC will be like, hey, bro, I saw what you did. Let me tell you about this whole other side of the thing that dude wasn't going to tell me about. It's crazy. It's so good, and it totally goes against what you expect in video games because they force it down your throat. It's so beautiful. Again, I didn't discover all this stuff organically, but if I had, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys and still playing Dark Souls right now. It's just so amazing. It's actually unfortunate because they took a lot of that out of Dark Souls 2 and a whole lot of it out of Bloodborne, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, there's doing when you were talking, there was like one incident in Bloodborne that I could think of that kind of had that little consequence. But Specs, what were you gonna say? Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, no, I was just thinking. I mean, that's the kind of when I think of replayability in a game, like that's the kind of shit that I would like to play. Where I just have to go around and just try completely different radical strategies,
and like it's
because you will get rewarded. But you know, that's exciting.
The Dark Souls has got us all right now. Because, like what you said, like, Witcher 3 drops, which we're going to get our Witcher hype on, but it drops in 2 days, and there's nothing more I want to do than play Dark Souls. Because we did happen to go over to Zeus's place, and I let him play Bloodborne.
Let the record stand. Cyrus had pretty much given up on us.
I was going to say it. I was going to be...
He had pretty much given up on us. He hit that wall that... people hit in these games, and if you haven't played them before, man, it sucks. It's rough, and he'd given up on it, but he let me get the controller for a little bit, and I put my magic touch on him. I showed him how much fucking fun you can have with these games.
Yeah.
If you really, because again, those games do not apologize for taking advantage of you any chance they get. Which is why I don't apologize for standing behind a grave, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day, 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day, 16 hours a day, 17 hours a day, 18 hours a day, 19 hours a day, 20 hours a day, 21 hours a day, 22 hours a day, 23 hours a day, 24 hours a day, 25 hours a day, 26 hours a day, 27 hours a day, 28 hours a day, 29 hours a day, 30 hours a day, 31 hours a day, 32 hours a day, 33 hours a day, 34 hours a day, 35 hours a day, 36 hours a day, 37 hours a day, 38 hours a day, 39 hours a day, 40 hours a day, 41 hours a day, 42 hours a day, 43 hours a day, 44 hours a day, 45 hours a day, 46 using my superior reach with my two-handed axe that you can't hit me on the other side of. Well, I'm just doing fucking spin attacks. So,
Yeah, I was
cheese all day, son, all day.
that game. I was about 99% done with it, and and Zeus was like, "Hey man, can you bring it over? I really want to play it." And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And I watched him play a little bit of it, and I was like, you know what, man, I'm good at gaming. Like, this game's not gonna beat me. And so, like, I even tried at his place a couple times. It's a Bloodstarved Beast. If you played Bloodborne, then you know who that is. And I got stuck on that dude probably 30 times fighting him, maybe more. And I went back to my place and kept playing it and finally beat him. One of the greatest achievements in gaming for me. I felt so happy after beating that asshole. And then after that, it was just, I was lost. I was in Bloodborne and beat the game, loved it. It's going to be a Game of the Year contender for me anyway. And it's freaking amazing. And then, I want to play Dark Souls so bad right now. But I know once I started, I'll probably want to play Witcher 3. And I've been looking forward to that game for like 4 years. And so I'm going to put it off. But after The Witcher, Dark Souls, we're about to get our co-op on super hard.
I mean, I can play that game any day, so...
Bloodborne is so good. It is a different game. It has a lot of the cues and key elements that Dark Souls and Demon Souls have, but it is a different game. It plays so much faster, it's nice, and I really enjoy that. And there's some nice things, whereas, like, for instance, encumbrance or or gear weight is not a factor in this. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, a lot of people like that. Yeah.
And I mean, it's like from a hardcore RPG perspective, yeah, maybe you do like that where you're trying to maximize your build with heavy armor, and there's a stat in Dark Souls called poise, which is like your ability to keep swinging after someone's hit you. And if someone breaks your poise, they can stun lock you, potentially. And so, like, one of the things you do is you put on heavy-ass armor, and it just lets you fucking, like, swing that giant club right through the dude's face, even though he just hit you twice. So there's, like, some really cool things about, like, that, having that in there. That said, I love moving really quickly, wielding a giant-ass hammer. There's something really fun about that, and I really, really like the combat in Bloodborne a whole lot. And the level design in that game is fucking great as well.
Yeah. We've even got Speffs before we went live, if you will, is thinking about buying a PS4 and Bloodborne.
Financial investment? No, I can do it. Yeah, I probably will. I haven't.
I'll make that financial investment worthwhile. Don't you worry.
I have not. I'm not upgraded to the current console generation because I cashed in on with my PC. But
because we're PC.
Well, for everyone, I'm gonna now be living with Zeus Bag, so it's gonna be a lot of hype playing.
The world revealed.
Tip.
Tip. Yeah, I'm sure Cyrus will be sipping many a drink.
Many.
On the pad, so yeah.
I just want to get
some use out of it.
Yeah, I just want to get some like Bloodborne co-op. I just want to get some Dark Souls co-op. It's so goddamn good.
It's really good. The biggest complaint. Well, no, there's actually two complaints about Bloodborne that a lot of people have, and I share them. They're not overall like game breaking complaints, but one is like the Covenant system in Bloodborne is meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless.
Yeah.
I think it only affects like your PvP and your co-op, because if you're a hunter of hunters, then you always be like against like someone that's aligned with the Vile Bloods or something like that. It's just Covenants are like a pretty cool system that, you know, they weren't really that well fleshed out in Dark Souls. They actually, that was one of the best things about Dark Souls 2, is the Covenant system actually was hugely important and meant a lot. And it's kind of sucks that they, like, you know, I get it. It's like, it's hard to make that stuff refreshing, but it was a nice added touch to those games, and it's kind of a shame they didn't bring it back in a meaningful way this time. It's kind of like, well, if you're not going to do it, why put it in?
Yeah.
You know? Because it really just, like...
It did kind of seem like it was just shoehorned in, like, let's throw this in.
It does not matter at all. That and the overall, like, NPCs in that game are very weak.
Yeah.
There's some good ones, but even the good ones, like, overall, their stories are kind of like, meh. Especially, like, and not Dark Souls 2 per se, but, like, in Dark Souls, there's a shit ton of NPCs. And what's so great about the NPCs in Dark Souls is that, other than a couple, they don't feel like they're put there for you. You know, the chosen undead. They're just other people there doing their thing in this world, and you just happen to cross paths with them several times. And depending on how you play, you can see how it ends for them. Spoiler, it ends badly for almost everyone in that game. But, you know, again, they're just kind of like off doing their own thing. And if you don't see them here, that doesn't matter. You'll see them somewhere else. And they're just questing through this world. And sometimes you actually feel like the quest giver to these people, which is it's a different take on it, but it's really good. And it's a big, you know, it's a complaint that I can see why people are very upset about, because the NPCs were so strong in Dark Souls. And there were some good ones in Dark Souls 2, and they had that element too, where there was a few of them that were just kind of going through the world, and they had their own struggles, and you just happened to, you know, have a chat with them in this area, and then you saw them again in this area, and they're a little worse for wear, and you're like, well, you know, buck up.
Yeah.
Get through this. But other than that, goddamn, I can't wait to play BLOODBORNE. It's very fucking good. I mean, I've successfully completed my third full watch of that game being beat from start to finish. So if that has anything to tell you about how much I like that game, there you go. I've watched 3 different people fully beat that game already. So, and we'll gladly watch another person.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Gets the League of Sip approval.
Oh man.
It's
if there was a dick I could suck, it would be like.
Sure.
It's just so weird because I was just completely done with that game. Almost, like, to a point where, like, I don't think I'd played it in, like, 3 weeks. And then just watching you play it. You pointed me to a couple of YouTubers and other people, some Twitch streamers that were just like, you know, watch a little bit of them, you know. And I did, and I was like, I'm going to go back and play this game.
I mean, playing those games blind is, like, the best way to do it, but at the same time, that ain't for everyone. And I mean, you do have to hunt for hints and tips in that game if you want them.
Yeah, one thing that
and
I think
sometimes it's like, I can just watch a guy play this video and explain it to me. I'm like, oh shit, that's really cool. I didn't think about that. I'm gonna do that now.
Yeah, I think I did it pretty good. Like, I was up to the Bloodstarved Beast, so, and I watched one YouTuber up to that point, and you know, kind of learned how he was playing and like how you're supposed to play these games per se. And I adopted that play style, and then, you know, along with what you had with the axe, and I was like, well, let me just take this weapon. But I would play an area. So like, say like I did like Hemwick Lane, I would go do that area, and then I would watch that episode of the YouTuber of that, and then I would be like, oh shit, I missed that. But it was really cool because I was playing it blind, yet
yeah.
I watched him, and there was a few storylines that I completely butchered, and you know, like because I would play, and then I would watch what he did, and I'd be like, oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. Yeah, but it's real good.
It's
All
a really
right.
good game.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about The Witcher, but I'm just gonna say it
We'll
again.
talk about it more in future
Witcher
podcasts, I'm sure.
hype is real for me anyway. I'm so excited. 7 p.m. Monday, which is tomorrow for me. I'll be dick deep in that game, and I'm excited.
I'm gonna hear a lot about it, I'm sure, but real world
It's-
awaits for us.
Hey, you made me sound like a degenerate from like society. I wish I could play video games all day.
Oh man, don't get me started. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'll get on it, but
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a game I've been looking forward to for a long time. And that trailer, or cinematic launch trailer they came out with a couple of days ago about, was that a vampire?
That was, I assume that was like
A wraith or something? Was it a wraith? I don't know.
No,
But
I took it for, oh, god damn it. My feeble mind just like
it just went
leaves me
blank.
sometimes.
But that was like super awesome. It's just, I'm excited to play. I'm just so ready.
Succubus. I think
Okay.
I would have maybe considered that a succubus.
And I haven't watched a whole lot about it. I know some keys went out early, and then a lot of news outlets they've been posting a lot of like gameplay videos. I've been pretty blind of what's going on, but what I hear, the changes they made to the combat of The Witcher 2 and some of the mechanics are all like well received and like warranted and wanted. And so I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to
I
it.
mean, it's looking really good. I mean, something like does unsettle me a little bit hearing stuff like PC codes haven't gone out yet because there's still a big patch they're working on trying to get out, and it may not be out until the day of release. So that is like a little unnerving because that's why all you see is PS4 reviews right now.
Yeah.
Because the PC codes might have just gone out like a day ago, and I think Xbox One went out like Friday, which is why people were actually streaming their Xbox One copies because they were like, well, it's within our embargo rights to do it, so they were going for it, which is cool. But I mean, other than that, like, I haven't seen anything to make me feel like that game isn't going to be fantastic so far. And I was watching a guy stream before we got on here, and it was looking good. Game looks really hard as well.
Yeah, which is I like, especially after playing Bloodborne. I'm up for a challenge.
Yeah.
Like I actually installed Assassin's Creed Unity on the good old PS4, and I just like launched it, and like just all the shit that's on the map, and it's just like after playing Bloodborne where it's like no direction, do what you want to do, and then Witcher's kind of like do what you want to do. Like playing Assassin's Creed, I was just like, and then plus Syndicate, they had their trailer this week, which we didn't talk about, but I think we're all over Assassin's Creed at this point, and just kind of like don't give a fuck about it.
Until they change that combat system in that game, I'm done with them.
But yeah, it was just like I forgot like how just like hand-holdy like their games are.
Video games are in general. Like I mean, the Soul series will do that to you.
Well, the Soul series, Witcher, those are like modern gamers games, and
which in Ubisoft's defense, they're playing the lowest denominator, like lowest common denominator. Like we want this game to appeal to the masses.
For fuck's sakes, they put towers that you have to climb in their goddamn racing game.
Which is
in a game
insane.
where you drive a car. There are fucking like radio towers that you have to go to the top of in order to discover parts of the map. Like, holy shit. Like, we're just going to homogenize all our video games into one game.
I mean, it seems to be working, but
and it's made them a lot of money, but
I think
at some point
you
will bite them in the
yeah,
ass.
Unity probably was like that point where most gamers are like, because it was a big pile of shit when it launched. Plus, you had like the Master Chief Collection, but just Ubisoft in general, they caught the blunt of that. But
so I think you evolved eventually as a gamer from there to like Bloodborne. There's just no comparison.
One thing I wanted to bring up, which I didn't bring up, which obviously Bloodborne is a Sony exclusive PS4, like a true exclusive. Sony helped finance it. We all believe that we don't think it'll ever come to PC because Sony helped finance it. But a report came out that the Sony executives were very pleased with like how much it sold. Like it has not sold through; it has sold over 1 million copies, which there's 1 million copies in players' hands, which is a statistic that gets floated around, or that people don't know the meaning of. Which sold through is through retailers, not in the hands of consumers. So it has sold 1 million copies to consumers, which, to most people that's like, well, that's not that much. Like Watch Dogs sold 10 million copies in like a week and a half or something, and that game's a pile of goddamn shit.
That's giving it too much.
But this is a true exclusive 1 million copies, which you can come up with a ratio of like I don't know how many PS4s are out in the world today, out in the wild, but that's a good bit. Like I'm very pleased like that that it sold well, because I want a Bloodborne 2. I want even if it's not a Bloodborne 2, more games of this nature. And so
I mean, for me, like with Bloodborne in general, the thing I would like to see next is what they did with Dark Souls, which is a very big, meaty expansion to the game. I don't know if I would like a true sequel to that. Because again, like, what do you sequelize?
Yeah,
to that story, and that you see that with Dark Souls 2, where the lore is still actually kind of compelling in Dark Souls 2, but you kind of tell like, maybe they should have just left it with Dark Souls 1. So Bloodborne 2, I don't really want. I wouldn't say I would want. I would love to see a big, nice expansion that kind of maybe fleshes out some more lore elements, adds a nice area here or there. One of these things that like the Soul series does a lot is that they have these areas where you go back in time, and because there's some characters that are heavily mentioned, but you don't really see much of, like Lawrence, like Willem, Ludwig, are like pretty key lore characters that have very little to no role in the actual game, other than like past historical events. Yeah. So it'd be pretty cool to see stuff like, minor spoiler, but like, after you kill Viper Amelia, there's a skull on the altar in the cathedral. When you touch that, you get a flashback to a scene of Lawrence and Willem talking. That skull has been confirmed by the man himself, Hidetaka Miyazaki. That is Lawrence's skull, which is, if you haven't seen it, is a big giant beast skull with a fucking hole in it. Maybe we get to fight Lawrence as a beast, that would be pretty cool.
Just that whole prequel like Bergenworth, I think we could explore that to
very compelling element to the whole overarching story, which would be really cool. Yeah. Or just go see like the formation of the Hunter's Workshop with Gehrman. There's plenty for them to do to really flesh that game out with a nice expansion. Now I'd say going forward, if they make a new, they're kind of like, how many fucking like spiritual successors can you make? They had Kingsfield, then Demon Souls, then Dark Souls, now Bloodborne, but you're all spiritual successors to one another. So that's kind of amusing. But I would love to see another like new story, new lore that holds on to that framework. As long as Miyazaki's name is attached to it. Miyazaki is not the director of it. I'll still play it, but I won't be nearly as excited. And you will not understand that until you play Dark Souls 2 after playing Dark Souls.
I will
fully understand it.
That will happen. All right, I think that was good. That was a success.
Hey, this is Cyrus Amory 51 in the flesh. Well, I guess in the voice, but it doesn't sound as good as in the flesh. But we're gonna keep on rolling. I'm here. Why don't you click that subscribe button while you're here? Click it. I know you want to click it. Your mom wants you to click it. Your dad wants you to click it. Your friends want you to click it. Probably your sweet, sweet grandmother wants you to click it. So click it. It could be the most important thing you do today, maybe the week, maybe the whole year, and maybe, just maybe, your whole life. So click that goddamn subscribe button.